Okay, so welcome back for the final day, and our first speaker today is Mr. Attila Márton from Hungary. He's the FCI Public Relations Consultant. He is the Vice President of the World Canine Press Association and a former Executive Director of the Hungarian Kennel Club, having been the Project Manager of the FCI IPO World Championship of Utility Dogs and the FCI World Dog Show in 2013 in Budapest. Former consultant in education related to canine welfare and public relations for the Lithuanian Kennel Club. He has over 100 publications in English and Hungarian focused on animal welfare issues related to dogs, and is also the author of the book Barking Up the Wrong Tree.
Buenos dias, and after such brilliant, touching videos, sorry for completely ruining the moment, but now you have me. And today, as the first presenter, I would like to talk about prevention, the importance of prevention, how it works, and why it would be important to have a bigger focus. Just to put it really, really simple, prevention is about preventing an unwanted situation from happening to re-happening, or to stop the phenomenon to escalate further. So really simply, it means that if there is a situation, you don't need to necessarily wait until your house starts to burn or burns down completely. I put these two pictures here just to present that you can see a happy family dog, and you can see another dog in a very bad health condition. The second dog definitely needs help. And for the dog, the best would be not even getting into such condition. And that would be the mission of preventive activities. And the tricky thing, and the reason why, I think this is the reason why it is not that popular, preventive activities and strategies, because as you heard yesterday about the management of the stray dog population, it does not take effect overnight. It takes years, it takes money, and in many cases you can't even directly show that, look, the narrative, the attitude of the society changed because we costed that amount of money. It took that many years, but now it is better. You can't directly connect things together. So I added some extra slides based on the previous 2 days because I wanted to get a bit deeper into certain topics. In many presentations, I heard how harmful it is to hear the "don't shop, adopt" slogan. And in Hungary, I had conversations with many shelters mostly. And on the surface, it's perfectly logical and reasonable to say that, okay, there is a competition between shelters and breeders. But the problem is a bit more complicated. And this slogan should be something like this, that don't reproduce dogs with uncertain future, just to have a litter at home because dogs are cute, or there was an accidental mating, or whatever, or you wanted to earn some cash for Christmas. And the other thing which should be added, that don't start to keep a dog when you have no clue how to do that properly. We heard in many presentations that dogs are extremely popular. The pandemic was a very good example how people selfishly and completely irresponsibly started to keep dogs without previous knowledge on how to do that, and it causes a lot of problem, and even without a pandemic. We had a fantastic presentation yesterday about stray dogs and the reasons behind why these dogs get abandoned. Okay, it is a very important thing to have those animals in need, to rehome them, to rehabilitate them. But it is also a very important mission to reduce the population of those dogs in need. Okay, you rescue dogs, you feel yourself as someone who is doing something great, which is true, but you also have to focus on the topic, why these dogs get onto the street, sometimes traumatized and in very bad health condition. Behavioral issues is a very huge topic, and sadly, in many cases, I hear the reason why a dog is extremely aggressive, why it is absolutely having social problems. The reason, because we love to simplify things. We don't like complexity because you can't really find a real solution, and for many reasons, we really find the simplest answer for our questions. And in many cases, I hear that, oh, this dog is aggressive because the nerve system is wrecked due to inbreeding, or it is genetically inherited. There was an article 1 or 2 years ago with the headline that breeders are urged to breed more well-behaved and more socialized dogs. And it would have been a laugh, but I think it is very sad to think this way. Because when we go a bit deeper into behavioral problems, the first question, what do you consider as a behavioral problems? People have a very unrealistic idea about dogs in most cases. Sometimes they think that they have a dog because a dog is clever. They take the dog home and it turns out that, oh gosh, it's stupid like hell. It's not stupid, but the person doesn't take the time to properly socialize and train the dog. We think that it is a kind of a product which automatically knows how to behave, what to do, etc. And I see many conversations that, oh, my dog is not that clever because it can't do tricks. Why should a dog do tricks? Why would it define the cognitive abilities, capabilities of a dog? No, we should really sort this out. And I put here the breed-specific behavior. There are many breed types which have been used for protective duties for thousands of years. And if such a dog wants to complete its duty, we say that, oh, come on, this dog is aggressive. No, it's not aggressive. Aggressiveness is a very complex topic, and we really simplify it as well. And it is very important to buy well-socialized dogs. We saw the images, and we heard many examples about the puppy farms. These dogs are not socialized. And after you buy a socialized dog, you have to train the dog. You have to understand that individual dog, to understand the behavior, understand what triggers that kind of behavior, and you can't save the time. Dogs are very complex creatures. And I put here the microbiome. We have some new studies, recent studies, showing correlation and or a causative relation between nutrition and behavioral problems. And another important thing, I could have started with this one, that we should stop anthropomorphism. Dogs are dogs, not humans. No matter how you call them, family member, fur baby, your baby, or whoever, the species remains a species with different needs. And you can't handle and you can't treat a dog the same way as you do with a human child. And health issues. We actually, we talk a lot about preventive activities in health. We had many presentations related to genetically inherited diseases, how to read genetic tests, etc. And it is important, and it is a problem. But in many cases, genetically inherited diseases do not really develop a real sickness. It is a vulnerability. There is the possibility to do that. It is very complex. Genetics is not like yes or no, black or white. And there is one important element in health issues that we tend to forget about, and these are the environmental elements. We had a fantastic presentation yesterday about nutrition. If you do not feed your puppy properly, do not get surprised that in 2 years, after an unhealthy biological development, it will have problems. It is a consequence. It's an absolutely logical consequence. Obesity. I'm very happy we started to talk about it. Jane Ladlow also mentioned, for example, I want to mention Austria, because there are those kind of problems we briefly mentioned 2 days ago. The Austrian veterinarians issued a communiqué, I think it was 1 or 2 years ago, begging the pet keepers to start to do with something with their dogs and cats, because the population of the Austrian dogs and cats is so obese that it causes a lot of health problems. It is has nothing to do with genetics at all. I mean, obesity can have a genetic background, but this is another thing. Early intervention. I don't know, I'm sure it differs in countries, but for example, in Hungary, you can easily see such Facebook posts that, hello, I have a dog, its eye has been bleeding for 3 days. What would you recommend? And you can see other things that, oh, my dog can't move, etc., etc. And instead of going to the vet to have an intervention, they wait with the problem to escalate, and this is not good. And I forgot to talk about pollution. We always talk about that everything around us is polluted. The air, the food, the water, everything. Actually, dogs suffer the same consequences, probably like humans. And we could talk about many other environmental elements that has an effect on dog health. So it is a huge mistake to explain all health issues with genetically inherited diseases. And it is an interesting question that how science can really evaluate, assess the real causes of health issues. How can you say that, okay, we have papers with the correlation and the causation between, not the causation, I think it's only the correlation between the high level of inbreeding and fertility or life expectancy. But how can such a study examine the effect of environmental elements? And it is a very complex topic, and we really oversimplify it. And here, and I really want to talk about a bit about breeding and prevention, because it came up many times during this conference. And as Dr. 𝐒𝐲𝐞𝐫 mentioned, that welfare of dogs cannot be maintained without a population which is well socialized to prevent the behavioral problems, and where during the process of reproduction, during selection, during care of the bitch, the breeder, the person responsible for the dog, did its best to reduce all those risk factors, all the consequences. And the question is, and that's why I wanted to go deeper into this, because do people really think that? Because there is a very negative image, a very negative opinion around breeders, and people don't really think like that, I think. I hear many times that why to breed dogs, because dogs breed themselves. It is not that simple. I think I will not go too deep into that. And why is the negative reputation? It's important to sort out to prevent the breeder society for further decline in reputation. And I could talk about this topic for hours. But what is the situation? There is a social matter. We want to solve it. And dogs and animal welfare is a really trending topic. We react really emotionally. And we want mostly politicians, decision makers to solve it. And we want immediate reaction, immediate action. And the politician wants the same because, okay, I will need votes at the next election. And in many cases, the thing happens that they don't go deep into the roots of the problem. They want to present something. I mentioned the example of dangerous breeds. For example, there are those countries where they thought that the best solution to reduce dog attacks would be to ban certain breeds. And it did not really solve the problem. The thing, and I would refer back to the question section of Jane Ladlow's presentation. What is the solution for those dogs coming from puppy mills through the illegal puppy trade? First of all, the society should understand that not all dogs are coming from registered kennels. It is so simple, but we really want to ignore it. And we don't want to really deeper into the problems because it is much easier, much easier to find a visible target, a visible community, and say that everything is because of you. I had conversations with people running shelters that, yeah, pedigree breeding should be banned because there are so many dogs at shelters. And I asked back that, please tell me if the 95% of the shelter dogs are mutts or crossbred dogs, how would banning breeding purebred dogs would affect the population of mutts and crossbreds? And the person, of course, couldn't give me an answer. So it is the easiest way to find the most simplest target to say that, okay, genetic is responsible for the health issues. The nerve system is responsible for the behavioral issues and so on. And it's the easiest thing to say that, okay, breeders are the ones who are responsible for everything. And that is what's happening in many cases. And I put it here that not all breeders are good. I would not say that. I always try to keep a really objective opinion on these matters. Not all breeders are good guys, but you should punish the individual, not the whole community. It is unfair. If there is 1 out of 100 or 1,000 breeders who runs a very, very irresponsible practice, even committing crime, why do you want to punish all of them? And it comes to the next question. I find it really important. We talk about the importance of registered population because we have access to the population. We can run population management strategies. Why would someone be motivated and encouraged to be a responsible breeder? I'm not a breeder, but do I really want to spend a lot of money, spend a lot of hours on learning, debating, arguing with other breeders on Facebook? Meanwhile, a huge majority of the world says that, oh, you are an evil person because you have a registered kennel. And it just a quick thought, I put it here, some basic things we expect from a registered kennel, a registered breeder. I usually have the feeling that you really need to run a genetic laboratory with huge amount of books on different kind of topics to do that properly. You really have to cost a lot of money on tests, etc., etc. And meanwhile, if you are a puppy farmer or backyard breeder, you need a bitch, you need a stud dog, and you need an internet connection to sell your dogs, and no one will ask you why you have no test results, DNA testing, whatever. And registered breeders are always bullied in many, many cases, especially in those countries where there is a huge propaganda against them. And meanwhile, those mating dogs at home, without any responsibility, without any professional activity, they remain untouched completely. And it is very important. I studied economy, and this is the basic thing, that if there is no demand, there will be no supply after a while. You can say that, yeah, your dog must have a longer nose. No, people don't want to buy, those ones who want a Frenchie, a French Bulldog or a Pug, they will not buy one with a longer nose. I put this slide here yesterday. And we have studies, surveys, really interesting surveys, about that people who owned French Bulldogs, which passed away in serious illnesses after 2 years. They exactly know that that breed is complicated. They would want to pick another French Bulldog. So these problems are not real problems for the owners. That is not their first motivation to have a healthy dog. They have other motivations. And I think there are such surveys also showing the purchase, the way how they buy these dogs, and it is not going after a breeder for months. They go to the internet, and I really want to highlight impulsive purchase. When I wake up in the morning, during the pandemic or out of that period, I decide that, what to do today? I would like to have a dog. Let's check this. it's 𝐒𝐲𝐞𝐫. Oh, it looks so great on the picture. I would like to have one during the afternoon, and I get one. I pick up the cheapest one. I pick up the one that I can get easier. And after 2 months, if I say that it is not okay, I take that dog back to the shelter or to the woods. Impulsive purchase is a huge challenge, a very huge challenge. We keep dogs as status symbols. Hierarchy within society is very important. People often choose a certain dog because it is a dog that no one else has in the street, and it's 2 times more that my neighbor could afford, so I can buy that. And with the popular breeds, like the French Bulldogs, you can find miniature French Bulldogs. Just think back about the 2 presentations on Boas. There are fluffy French Bulldogs, there are blue, there are pink, there are this and that and that. No one is really taking care about it. I mean, from the animal welfare aspect, that in most cases, genetically ruled in conformation. These dogs are extremely popular, and no one is doing anything with that. And the huge problem, and it goes back to the demand and supply causation, that why brachycephalic breeds are so popular and will remain popular for a long time. First of all, we keep dogs as family. In many cases, they substitute a human child. And it's genetically coded inside us to take care of an infant. And if you think about the morphology of the brachycephalic breeds, most of them has the same portion as the human face, compared to, for example, to Labrador or Poodle or whoever. And the other thing that there is pedomorphosis in case of this breed. It means that they keep these infant-like traits of the face for adulthood. In many other breeds, they change. They completely change, not these ones. And we have an automatic inner drive to take care about these dogs, to have a deeper bond, etc., etc., etc. And the sad thing that we can hear this many times, that don't buy from a breeder. They ruin breeds. They sell sick dogs for a huge amount of money, etc., etc. And we hear that from some animal welfare organizations. And thanks to them, now people prefer going to the internet or somewhere else to purchase a puppy, because buying from a registered kennel has a very bad reputation. So in many cases, I had the feeling that maybe illegal puppy trade and the whole industry is funding some animal welfare organizations, because they are really working against some welfare questions. And some possible, because okay, we know these problems, more or less. What to do with this? It is very important to explain and understand the nature of the problem. And that's why I'm really glad to have that question from Julie Sanders from 4Post yesterday after the presentation of Jane Ladlow, that, okay, we are controlling, we have tools now to control boas, but only in the registered population. What about the rest? This is not that complicated, and this mechanism that not all dogs looking like a French Bulldog comes from French Bulldog breeders, but this important point is completely missed by many organizations related to animal welfare. Education of the public will be very important. I will talk about this soon. It is very complicated. Public affairs would be very important as well. We always talk about PR, which is something else. Public affairs meaning keeping contact with the authorities, etc., etc. And cooperation and reasonable debates would be necessary between the kennel clubs, the breed clubs, and the breeders. Yesterday there was a question about why the FCI does not do something with a certain topic, because that is not the duty of the FCI. If everyone is waiting for the FCI to save the world, nothing really happens. Not because they don't want to do anything, just because that's not how it works. We should have good cooperation with animal welfare organizations. And the animal welfare organization should have cooperation with the breeder society. They are not enemies. We have a very common goal. And this complete anti-breeding propaganda against breeders, labeling them as real enemies causing all problems is really, really harmful. We need the cooperation of veterinarians, vet organizations, scientists, and other relevant NGOs. And then comes the question, we talked about who are the enemies. We talked about that breeders are not enemies from the perspective of animal welfare. We should define who the enemies are, who do we want to fight against. Yeah, it can go on that we completely destroy the reputation of breeders, but it is not good in the long run. And about communication and prevention, and it is really connected to this. And James completely spoiled this slide yesterday, that animal welfare problems originate from human behavior. It is more, I would say this is true. There are some special situations, for example, epidemics, natural disasters, accidents, of course, where the welfare of the animals can suffer. But in general, you can say that in case of domesticated animals, the humans are the ones who set and define the environment the dog exists. And the interesting question is that why do we behave the way we do? And why do we make those decisions we make? Why someone decides to keep a dog during pandemic, not really thinking about what to do with the dog in some months or some years. And it is a very complex topic, actually, but please note that the term behavior, the behavior of someone, the decision-making process, what I think and what I express, these things are connected to each other. In case if I stay quiet in a situation, it does not mean that I didn't behave or I didn't express anything. I decided to behave the way that I keep my mouth shut. That these things are connected to each other. And and the basic questions within animal welfare, that what is the general attitude of the individual committing something against an animal? And what are ideas about how to choose a dog, how to keep a dog, how to train a dog, how to feed a dog? I read Facebook comments and posts that I don't care what you say about dogs eating chocolate. My dogs love to eat chocolate, so and I will give them chocolate as well. There is this kind of behavior. There is a reason why. And it is a very big topic. And this whole, I wouldn't say theory, but what people think, how they behave, how they make their decisions, this defines the framework of animal welfare within one society or in one social circle. And how do we make decisions? Because it is the next important question. There are two main types of decision making. One is when we thoroughly consider everything, we go through with a really deep planning. We always think that we are so intelligent and so rational that we always make the best decision, which is not true, because our behavior mostly, based on autopilot mode. Our brain spits up the decision immediately, and it is really important because, for example, some thousands of years ago, when the man went out hunting and the bear approached, you didn't have too much time to consider that. What is that? It's brown. Is it dangerous? No, you run. So we need the autopilot mode for survival because we have to process too much information around us and we have to decide quickly. And this is the problem. And the way how our beliefs and behavior builds up is a very, very complex and very interesting topic. Of course, genetic plays a certain part, but again, we have an environment around us. We have our family, we have a cultural background, we have different social circles, we have religion around us, and these define our behavior, our thinking. And later, when our social circles start to expand, we will have different social circles, kindergarten, school, workplace, etc., etc. We will unconsciously assess the reaction of others on our own reactions, and we will develop our own decisions. And this part of the human, that actually humans are always changing. You can't say that, okay, I'm over 18 or 21 and I'm completed. No, no. You are, because the environmental elements are very important. You are always interacting with the environment, and human behavior changes. It changes all the time. But how can you radically change the behavior and the decisions of the human? There are very important elements, and as I said, and it was mentioned in other presentations, that you need a holistic approach. You can't just really touch one component of the problem. You have to focus on all of them. There are social norms. Social norms are all those things what are accepted within a social circle, not on a national level. Within a nation, there are different social circles. I behave differently with my family. I behave differently when I go pubbing. I behave differently when I am having a meeting with the FCI, because these are different social circles with completely different social norms. And it is really tricky because the social norms in us, the perception of social norms, always builds up what we think others accept as behavior. And this one can be modified because we want to fit in. We are social animals. We don't want to get expelled from our circles. So that's why we try to behave the way we can really fit in. And we like to follow opinion leaders and influencers, which is not all the time a good thing. We gain information from our environment. We meet our neighbors. We go to our groomer. We talk about topics, etc. We have experience and knowledge, which is really important, and it goes through our lives. And when you experience something new, hopefully you will use that new knowledge again later. And we receive a lot of information from media, movies, books, magazines, etc. And I put social media and websites highlighted because recently we gain majority of the information around us through our smartphones. Let's talk about this a bit. There is a massive available information around us. It is very easy to access anything through your phone, your tablet, your laptop. And there is a complex interaction with others because in the past people used the internet to email or just to keep in touch, etc. Now you can bully others, you can be bullied, you can run really ugly fights on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for hours instead of doing something important or pleasant. So interaction, the way people communicate on social media, it is not just a one-way thing, it is interaction. And the habits we use, these gadgets, the technology, is always changing. If you look back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the content we received, the content we reacted to, the way we used the technology was completely different, and it is always changing. And it has a huge influence on what we think, for example, on how to keep a dog, how to train the dog, how to solve any problems related to the dog. And there is another side of the coin with the internet. Just because you have 1,000 more information around you a day, it doesn't mean your brain is capable of receiving and processing all this information. Therefore, a lot of things disappear. If I ask you to recall three things precisely you saw on Facebook today, probably that would be a problem because we just scroll through, we don't memorize, those information gets lost. There is a huge problem in focus, how we can focus if we are able to read a 500-page book or not, or after 5 minutes we want our phone back to see what is happening. The threshold, the way we react for things is completely changed as well, which is also not good. And there is I put here dopamine boost, but it is really not a boost, but we have an addiction to dopamine, and we want to gain as many information as possible. There is a reason for that, and the big question from the perspective of animal welfare and in general, that when people like to spend their day with arguing and watching 10 and 20 seconds long videos, how can you explain them what is a genetically inheritable disease, that not all dogs are coming from breeders, etc. And I could refer back any of the topics we were talking about, because in 10 seconds on TikTok or on Instagram Reels, you can't really do that effectively. And I think this year I had a publication. It was an article in Hungary, in Hungarian, about the negative effect of our social media usage on animal welfare. I found this topic really interesting, and I'm sure that I will write about this more because it's important, and I'm sure that I will publish something in English. Those people who started to keep a dog during pandemic, after the pandemic, without previous experience, and gaining their information about dog keeping from cute Instagram videos, etc., etc. Will they have a proper, clear, professional image how to responsibly keep a dog or not? Probably not. There is misknowledge and misinformation, and I could put here fake news as well, because that is a problem. We all know that there are Facebook experts and Twitter professors. There are people who think themselves really knowledgeable on any topics. Whatever it is, they have their own opinion. There is the English phrase, empty cans make the loudest noise. I really like that. And if you add the Dunning-Kruger effect, you can see that it is a very complex situation. The Dunning-Kruger effect is about that if someone has not that much knowledge on a certain topic, they will not know their own limitations, and they will be really, really convinced that they are right. And on the other way, if someone is really experienced on that topic, that person is really uncertain on many things because they know their own limitations. Emotion-driven opinions, it is very problematic. When people don't think, they just react immediately. And in animal welfare, emotions are present, as I mentioned in my first presentation on Monday. And we neglect facts. We don't care about facts. We want solutions immediately, and we seek quick fixes and quick solutions. And the reason why these short videos, cute videos, and that's why I put this picture here, I find it, I wanted to test, if I put this picture on my own Facebook page, what would be the reaction of people. Probably I would have received a lot of hearts and how cute it is. For me, it is so bizarre, this image. It is completely bizarre. The improper and humanized image of dog keeping belongs to the topic of anthropomorphism. It is really harmful. It leads to behavioral problems. It leads to health problems. It leads to everything. And probably you saw those videos with dogs with babies interacting. When I saw a video once when a a toddler was trying to climb up on the face of the Rottweiler. And you could see that the dog was completely under pressure and stress. And I was really waiting to see that the dog would bite over the head of the baby, because you could see on the body language. And the mother who was recording this video was laughing how cute they are, and the video received very positive comments. So why are we really surprised that there are so many dog attacks in households? Because we don't know what to do, don't know. We see this as an example because we get the world through our phone, and we see that. We see dogs completely treated as humans, and we think that, okay, this is the best way, the best responsible way to start to keep an animal. I find it an absolutely huge problem. And I put here that this knowledge, if we keep animals like as if they were humans, we will forget about their own needs. And these things are not that complicated. Still, people don't really understand that. I mentioned impulsive purchase, and I put here dog owners shaming and bullying here as well. That is also a problem. I don't want to go deeper into that. Just put everything together. I see this as a problem in case of many animal welfare organizations that they just focus on helping those in needs. And they completely forget the importance of prevention. That would be really important. Prevention is not an easy thing, as I mentioned. It takes time, it takes money. It's not so easy to directly connect the effect of the preventive activity to the final result. Very, very hard, very complicated to measure. And it would be very important that people would start to understand the real causes of the certain animal welfare problems, not just to emotionally break into the house claiming that they want immediate action, etc., etc. And cooperation would be very important. I mentioned, for example, I forgot to mention this before, but I mentioned animal welfare organizations. Some of them act like this and that. I get really angry when I hear animal welfare organizations blaming breeders for everything. And I really hate when breeders, kennel clubs, breed clubs, do the same with animal welfare organizations. You can't set up such categories. It is more complicated. People are people, organizations are different. And the cooperation of everyone, those ones who have reasonable approach, is really, really important. Without cooperation, we are unable to solve these problems. That's what I wanted to say, and I want to thank to Dr. Pyre for the invitation. I'm really happy for being here. I want to thank the FCI, especially the FCI General Committee for my assignment to the Health and Welfare Committee. I never had the chance to say thank you. I thank the committee members, the fellow members, for the work together during the last 2 years and their support during the last some days. It means a lot. I thank the the organizers for the hospitality. I definitely thank the translators up there for their really hard work during these 3 days, putting us into Spanish. And I definitely thank this fantastic audience we had for this conference. After such a huge hiatus in presenting in person, it is a very good thing and good feeling. Thank you for your attention, and in case you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Attila. Are there any questions from the audience?
Hi, Attila. Congratulations for your presentation. It was very interesting to see different approach to the problems. I have a few questions. I still consider our kennel club organizations and national organizations as welfare organizations because we take care about dogs. And when we discuss with other welfare organizations, in the most cases in most of the countries, we have good communications. So can you tell us, where is the problem in European democracy? that, for example, our organization cannot approach to stakeholders? And why is such a big difference between European countries how we handle this problem? And what we'll learn from United States, why they don't have same issue what we have at this moment? Because we share same social media, and actually as a Western civilization, what's going wrong?
I try to put it short. I think the culture itself is different. And if you just take a look at the European Union, European countries are different as well. And in the USA, I don't have that deep information how it works. It has a completely different legal system, for example. If I talk about the EU, the sovereign rights of the different countries is there. I don't know if one day there will be a common regulation legally binding for all countries in Europe. Hopefully it will happen. I don't know, the legal structure of the EU is, I would say, strange. It is complicated. And one day it may happen, and I do hope that they will listen to other opinions and reasons, not just those ones who are causing trouble at the moment. Because that is an opinion as well, but it is utterly oversimplified, missing a lot of further information, scientific studies. And I mentioned on Monday that using scientific studies is also a big problem, because now we in many cases I see that those attacking registered breeding use a scientific paper, the abstract of the scientific paper, as hard evidence, which is not good. And politicians says that, oh, here is someone with a fancy, serious paper, it must be right. Because if you go through the process of decision-making, there are advisors for the politicians. I don't think that one politician would understand all the things around them. They have advisors around them. So to solve the situation, we would need, in Europe, we would need a more effective communication between the kennel clubs, the FCI, the breeders, the breed clubs. It would be important that not everyone is waiting for someone else to solve the problem. Everyone is involved. This is the part of the communication, and we would need a better public affairs, I mean lobbying, to build up connections. We need supporters. It was, as someone connected to these problems, it was really good to hear Jane Ladlow yesterday, that she said, as someone not connected to the breeder society, that her goal, her mission is to help those who want to breed responsibly. We need professionals who support us, who say that, okay, this is the way, you are doing right, we are helping you with this, because there are so many misunderstandings, intentionally or unintentionally, that completely ruins the reputation of the breeders and the whole activity. Thank you.
Well, you said there was some kind of similarities between humans and brachycephalic breeds. Can you tell me where I can find further information about this assumption or affirmation?
Yeah, because I put this slide here. I didn't put references. There are some studies on that. I will look it up and I will publish it somehow. I will send it to the organization and they can publish it. There are some scientific papers on that.
That was question one. The second question, you speak about prevention. I see three types of prevention: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Here, let's think. Preventing before is in order to prevent things from happening, but it is happening now. So it would be tertiary or third level prevention. Still, is there estimation? Do you have an estimation of time? That is to say, how long would it take to finish or to solve the problems we have right now?
If I could answer you this question, how long it takes to solve these kind of problems, probably I would be the richest person in the world, because I would have such a brain that I can predict very complex things like I don't know those names from Greek mythology. You could see the future and everything. I would be a prophet. No, I will not make any prophecies. It is complex, and actually, during the first day when I was talking about problem solving, I said it is very important when you plan everything, you understand the problem, and you start to act, and after that you feedback all the time just to see if your idea is really working. It is impossible to predict, especially in complex topics where there are many stakeholders, where anything can happen. I think no one expected, for example, the pandemic. No one expected the war in Ukraine and many other things. If there is a problem, you have to act. You have to have your goals, and you have to do your best to complete that. This is, for me, this is the most important thing. And as you said, that there are different types of preventions. Yes, this topic is really huge. Just put it simple. There are those activities where you handle the harm, the causes, the end results, like rescuing dogs, abandoned dogs, for example, or abused dogs. And there is the preventive activities, many kind of preventive activities, where you try to, you are not working on the harm and the problem. You go to the deeper level, to the root causes, trying to have an effect on them, to have an effect in the future.
Thomas, I will come down to you. Let me just take this one here.
Hi, in order to make my question, I would like to make a quick comment. In 1972, the United Nations got the Environmental Human Activities Conference in Stockholm, and from that conference, it came the concept of, sorry, it's not about dogs, but you will get the point. We got the concept of environmental education, which 20 years after this huge world conference gave us the best specialists about the subject around the world. The best environmental laws came from that, that statement from the United Nations about the importance about environmental educations, right? Sadly, 30 years after that, most of the environmental education in schools and, conference and the workshops and everything were abandoned. And now we see the results about where are we, thanks to that. Now, my question would be, if you have an idea or what would be your opinion about what would be the best approach to improve the education about the dogs and animals' welfare, in order to create best prepared specialists about this, this matter. Thank you.
Do you want the short or the polite version of my answer? I think at the current time, the most difficult thing is not just to educate people, but to convince people that they need education, because we live in a world where everyone has the right to think what they want. You can be as dumb as you want. You can be proud of that, and no one can tell you that, look, you are wrong in that. Luckily, this is not the majority of the people. I don't know if it's the majority or not. You need to be really objective on educating people for a better change, because what you see on social media, the way people act, react, etc., it is sad. It is sad. You need to really, you need to learn how to handle this situation. I mean, how people interact and communicate, and they don't need information, and all they are interested in short videos and funny things and bullying others, etc., etc. In this era where we really want quick fixes, we want to solve everything immediately, we want to go deeper, we want others to solve our problems. This is very, very complicated. And it's a huge issue to educate people. It wouldn't be that complicated. The good thing that it is never a linear thing. A society is a very complex platform. So you have to start to open it, and you will see where it goes. So it's not easy.
That was a great summary of the subject. Thank you very much. But I think Attila hit the needle in its head when mentioned the emotional immediate reaction that kills us. If somebody puts a false news or a news from uncertain sources, we don't even know if it's true or not, we start to comment. And the comments are emotional. Without using our brain, we are using emotions. And one single comment by emotions create another 100. And at the end of the day, nobody even remember what was the real news. And nobody cared if the news was right or not. So this is a time, I'm just using the possibility for some self-criticism in our community. So I would like to ask ourselves to be a honeybee and not an ant. What's the difference? A honeybee go to the field, some poison get on the body, they don't let him go back. Sometimes they even kill it because they want to save the community. Ant, if you put a little poison, the ant will bring it into the nest and will kill the others. Thank you.
I want to thank the FCI board members for giving Mexico the opportunity of having this important World Congress for Welfare and Health for the dogs worldwide. We are really pleased, and thank you so much for giving us this great opportunity. And also I want to thank all the speakers from all over the world who participate in this great event. Thank you.